Well, once again, everybody, welcome to the Hibernaculum. This is Jason, aka AJ Toynbee, with the latest, greatest madness. And I did a little version of what you're looking at here maybe a week or two ago on a whim. Wasn't even planning on doing so. It just kind of made itself almost. I found myself at the end having created something I had no intention of creating, but this is something that was fully planned out and intended from start to finish to become what it became. And this is based on Fury in the West. So what we're looking at here is a majority, if not most, of the portion of the map that is included in the old Avalon Hill game Fury in the West, which depicts the Battle of Shiloh. Now, there's some things that are not depicted here, and for those who are experts and connoisseurs on all things Civil War, and especially the Battle of Shiloh, I get it. This thing isn't perfect. It's not exactly to scale. There are some things that are missing, and there are some things that are done perhaps incorrectly, but overall I'd say 85 to 90% of this is in fact accurately depicted, at least based on the map that came with the game. So if we go over some key features, we have the pond here, the peach orchard, we have Shiloh Church here, adequately represented on the game board. This plexiglass underneath here has the printed off terrain stuff that I was using for the 28 mil Warlord black powder Napoleonics. Left that there because to remove this plexiglass, as you lift it, the papers underneath are all like 8.5 by 11, if not smaller. They're all going to go everywhere. They're not glued or taped or fastened. They're just placed, and then the plexiglass carefully placed on top. That stays as is. Now, given that, it does give perhaps the appearance of islands and clear water. So the green being the islands and the clear plexiglass fooling you as water, but that's not the case. What we have going on here is, when I looked at this map for Fury in the West, if I can grab it, to the best of my ability, I tried to study what these ridge lines here, how they would be represented in a 3D depiction. And I don't want to pretend to assume that I've accurately depicted these at all, but what I've come up with is these little creek bed valleys. I figured the terrain would be lower where the creek beds are. And with this hex grid size the way it is, that's what I've gone with. Now all these creeks are accurate. The roads, I've depicted the main roads. There are trails in the game. I'm not that neurotic that I wanted to try the trails as well. In fact, when I was just starting with these rivers, which is just blue construction paper, and I had a few extra hexes that I would draw lines and outline the shape of how they would be placed on the game board. Sounds complicated, or maybe it doesn't, but it worked out, and I got better as it went along. But I got maybe to about right here, and I looked at everything else which wasn't done yet, and I said, do I really want to do this? You know, I almost gave up. I was getting frustrated. It seemed like a lot of work, and well, I guess it was. But I thought, no, you don't give up. You just keep trucking along, and that's what I did. And slowly, you know, one piece at a time, one area at a time, it all started coming together. Well, another thing that is perhaps inaccurate are these added, so let's see, this would be first, third level terrain. But I really felt like, and this is, these green, let me back up, these green hexes I made years ago when I lived in Columbia, Missouri, and I used them primarily for commands and colors as well as battles of Napoleon, I think. But definitely used it a lot in the commands and colors, Napoleonics. And then instead of just having the hex on top of another hex for a hill, I did these weird shapes to represent hills that fit within the hexes so you can still tell, even though it doesn't have hex lines, what goes where. And I thought it added to the overall terrain to just put those on there. Now again, I don't know that, well, I do know that it does not accurately represent any hills or third level stuff that would be in the game. The wheat fields are accurate as well. And then I would add that, again, this is merely because of space, obviously. This is merely the center portion of all the maps put together. Now, if you go to the left or to the right and down, there's actually maybe 2 to 3 to 4 more hexes that are not being represented on this map. And of course, if you'll notice up here, where the hell is Pittsburgh Landing and all that stuff? Well, it's another 3-4 hexes up this way. So you can still have gunboats worked into the game. They're just off map. In fact, if you'll notice here, Stuart is actually, with this little 2, Stuart is actually 2 hexes off that way. Everything else, believe it or not, this worked out, to my amazement, rather well. It's all accurate. All the troops that are stationed, you know, there's non-brigaded, and I can't read his name, and Loman, I think, and all these guys. It's all accurately represented, like the way they want you to set it up on the map. So it's not 100% accurate, but it's, like I said, it's about 85 to 90% accurate. And I would add that these creeks, some of them are perhaps on the wrong hex side, maybe should be on this hex side, but these are minor things overall, in my opinion. And this was turned out to be quite an endeavor. I've been working on it off and on for about 2 days. And to try and get this thing 100% would just be an exercise in madness that I don't want to mess with. So that's what we're looking at. And again, the game is Fury in the West. I have read the rule book, got everything set up. This is the charts for all the troops that are on the map. And the cool thing about this is you can have stragglers or casualties, and the casualty marker will go on the left and a straggler on the right. And as you suffer one or the other, you count the number of spaces between them to represent the strength of the unit. I kind of like that. And this would be the combat results table that you'll be using, with A, B, or C being your 3 primary conditions, and then you cross-reference that with your strength ratio of opposing sides. And then you roll a single 6-sided die. That's my understanding. Nothing too taxing there. And it's a fairly straightforward, simple game. Might be something that somebody who's new to wargaming could tackle fairly easily. Well, maybe not, but seems like it's fairly simple to me. I'm gonna give this, this is the first day setup. Now, we have reinforcements that are coming here for the Union throughout the day. And then I have nothing set up or prepared for the second day, because I don't know that I'm gonna crack into the second day. And then of course you have the campaign game, but it's all set up for the first day. And once I grow tired of this, I tend to hop from thing to thing. I think I'm gonna break out, oh, here's all the 28mm Napoleonics resting. They're getting some R&R from the table. When I get done with that, I think I'm gonna mess with, these are extra commands and colors blocks. Can never have too many of those. These guys here, see in the peek in there? These are the little, I don't know what you call them, 6, 7, 8mm Risk figures that I based back in the day. I think I might bust those out and drop them on the table here and see how that looks. Might look pretty cool. But that's what I spent the weekend doing, and thought I'd share that with you guys. So again, this is, let's see. The table's about 4 foot by 6 foot, but the map itself is comes out to roughly 4 foot by 5 foot. And I'm fairly proud of this. This wasn't something that I just slapped together. It was a lot of thought and study. in comparison with the maps that came in the game. To get this is like I said, as close as possible without losing your mind. I want a Professor and the Madman scenario going on here. So that's that. Maybe I'll tune in again with some updates on this, see how the first day's gone, or not, we'll see. Talk to you guys later.